All right, good morning, folks. On behalf of the students, faculty, and staff, and my dear friend and conference chair, Rob Blumenthal, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 54th Annual Conference on Capital Markets in Real Estate. It is just so exciting to be back in the room together and to be able to see people, some of whom I've known for many, many years prior to the pandemic, and whose relationships I've fallen back on and relied upon so heavily over the course of the last 18 or 19 months, as has everyone else in the room. It's also so wonderful to see people in person for the first time that I've had the opportunity to meet and get to know over Zoom over the course of the last 18 months. It's a clear reminder to me, seeing people in person, that there really is no substitute for being in the room together and being able to actually engage directly. I want to make sure that I begin by thanking our sponsors for today. Deutsche Bank, RXR, Starwood, PGIM, Essex Capital, Pi Capital Partners, and Newmark. We would not be able to host this conference without the support of our sponsors and board members. And this year, as with every year in recent history, the proceeds from today's event do support critically important affinity scholarships, where we support students demonstrating financial need, where we support our Women's Scholarship Fund, our LGBTQ Plus and Pride Scholarship Fund, and our HBCU HSI Scholarship Fund for graduate students who attended for their undergrad a historically Black college or university or a Hispanic serving institution. Ensuring that our investments are being directed to cultivating and supporting the next generation of industry leaders, irrespective of their background or experience, whether they're from a real estate family or new to real estate and entering the industry for the first time, is part of the fabric of the Schack Institute, and we're deeply grateful to all of our sponsors and supporters for making it possible with our affinity scholarships. We returned to our in-person format just a couple of weeks ago with our 4th National Symposium of Women in Real Estate. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge a couple of people that are here today that have been absolutely critical in our launching that conference 4 years back. There are, of course, our 3 co-chairs, Darcy, LG, and Joanne, who I think will be joining us a little bit later, but also Brian Ward and the team at Trimont. When we had the idea for a Women's Leadership Symposium, we wanted to make it national in scale. We needed people to believe that we could do it, that it coincided with the 50th Annual Capital Markets Conference, and on that very special occasion, we wanted to kick off a new tradition that would also persist for another 50 years. We thought there was nothing that could more effectively signal our values and commitments at Schack than the Women's Leadership Symposium. And Brian and the team at Trimont were the first who really said, we believe in what you're doing and we're here to support you. I also want to give a special thanks to Wendy Silverstein. One of the things that we wanted to make sure that we did with the first WIRE Symposium was feature a keynote that would draw students and young professionals from across the industry, from across the country, and really highlight what's best about real estate, not only in terms of a person who has enjoyed extraordinary success in their careers, but someone who, while being successful, has made an extraordinary and positive impact on the communities in which they are engaged. And there was no one who could have helped us kick off that first conference the way that Wendy did. I want to also thank our events team, our strategic marketing team, and of course, the team at Schack, both the staff and the faculty. Moving in March 2020 to an all-digital format was an extraordinary undertaking, and we were able to host more than 200 events between 2020 and early 2021, all with an eye to ensuring that our students still had the opportunity, even in the digital setting and in the digital environment, to meet people in very large groups and very small groups, and to develop the kinds of relationships that make our industry so unique and so special. The transition back to in-person was not seamless either. Please forgive us over the course of the day if there are some bumps in the road that we need to iron out as we, in some cases, relearn how it is that we host an in-person event, but also how we do it in a way that is mindful of the need to protect everyone's health and well-being. I do have one housekeeping item. There are two things that are critically important to the university, and we're critically important to our being able to get an exception to current COVID protocols and being able to host today's conference. The first is that by university protocols, we do ask the students to take seats at low-density tables. We also ask, and I realize that this is a more constrained environment than would be the case for almost any other gathering. When you're not eating or drinking, please do keep your masks on. Our ability to host this event, our ability to host the REIT conference, the 26th annual REIT Symposium next spring, depends entirely upon our ability to demonstrate our commitment and our ability to execute in keeping everyone, our students as well as our guests, healthy and safe. So thank you for your support in that commitment. Schack, our industry, and our city have shown extraordinary resilience over the course of the last year and a half. And all of the dialogue around the possibility or the potential for people to abandon the largest and most systemically important markets of the United States and elsewhere in the world to move into an environment where ultimately work would take place entirely remotely has proven to be misguided. Instead, what we find is that at events like the one today, in the days that we do spend in the office as part of a new and changing balance, we've been able to reassert the power of place. And to the students in the room, I say that while we've experienced an existential crisis in real estate, where in some cases we've had to very carefully evaluate and assess, when we do come together, how can we ensure that we are maximizing the value of that time together? How is it that we make sure that our office spaces, our hotel rooms, our conference venues, that it's meaningful and important every time we do gather? That ultimately, we are a mentorship economy, and we are an apprenticeship industry. And what that means for us is that your ability as new entrants to the real estate market, some of you having internship experience, some of you working in real estate for the first time, your ability to find a mentor for yourself, to build a trust relationship, to find someone who will be a champion for you in that next leadership team meeting, ensuring that you have access to wonderful opportunities. Your ability to learn from your peers, but also to help shape the culture of your organization. These are things that you will always be able to do more effectively and in a way that is more rewarding when they are done in person as compared to over Zoom. So please do take advantage of the opportunity to meet one another and network today. Industry guests, where you see folks that are wearing student badges, please do take a moment to introduce yourself and to tell them a little bit about the work that you're doing and your faith in the resilience of the commercial real estate industry. In terms of the agenda today, it was so great to see so many people at our 3 affinity breakfasts this morning, our NYU alumni breakfast, our Young Women Leaders Breakfast, co-hosted by Girl Gang and Michelle Klegger, and our Pride LGBTQ+ breakfast, co-hosted with John Tilley and my colleagues from Deutsche Bank. Over the course of the day, we'll spend the morning in the general session. For lunch, we'll head down to the terrace room and to the Centennial Room. Again, just a reminder to the students, our university protocols do require that you take a seat at a low-density table. The terrace room and the Centennial Rooms are just outside of these doors, and there'll be attendants ready to guide you in the right direction. After the afternoon's general sessions, for industry guests, sponsors, and speakers, we'll then revert to the historic Oak Room for this evening's reception. With that, thank you again for joining us today. It is so exciting to see a full room. It's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage my friend and a Schack board member, Brian Ward, CEO of Trimont.